Hello and welcome to Latest Installment of My Dad Listens to This. I'm Juliet the daughter.
And I'm Kevin the dad.
And this week, we are talking about the whole story, not part of the story, the whole story.
The whole story?
By Kate Bush.
Okay.
So, Dad, what do we need to know?
Okay, here's the whole story. Okay, not the whole story, but most of the story.
The Cliff Notes version of the story.
Yeah. Catherine Bush was born July 30th, 1958 in Bexley Heath, Kent, England.
Fancy.
Quite. Her dad was a GP and her mother was a nurse. She has two older brothers, John and Patty, both who were involved in the local folk scene. Kate taught herself piano at age 11, as well as organ, and took violin lessons. She recorded demos of songs that she wrote, with her brothers helping out by playing on them. Ricky Hopper, a friend of theirs, took the demo to various record companies. No luck, until he played the tapes for one of his friends, one David Gilmour from Pink Floyd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Gilmour was impressed, met Kate's family, and financed some better quality demos. Gilmour played the tapes for record executives, and EMI signed Kate and advanced her £3,000. She used the money to enroll in interpretive dance classes and mime training.
Oh, yeah.
She also spent that time finishing school and wrote and recorded almost 200 demos.
Whoa.
She fronted the KT Bush Band in London, which included Del Palma on bass, Brian Bath guitar, and Vic King drums. She recorded her first album in August 1977. She wanted to have the KT Bush Band play on the album, but EMI insisted on experienced session musicians. David Gilmour co-produced the album. Now, EMI wanted James and the Cold Gun to be the first single. Kate insisted that it be Wuthering Heights. EMI gave in, and the song hit #1 on the UK singles chart in March of 1978, and it stayed there for 4 weeks.
She knew what she was doing.
It also became one of the biggest selling songs of that year, and Kate became the first female singer-songwriter who topped the charts with a self-penned song. In England, anyway. The album, The Kick Inside, went to #3 on the UK album chart. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, Kate was the first female artist in pop history to have written every track on the million-selling debut album. Meanwhile, in the US, the second single, The Man with a Child in His Eyes, went all the way up to number 85 on Billboard's Hot 100. It would be 7 more years before she hit that chart again. She'd have more of a cult following in the U.S.
That sounds about right.
Now, EMI persuaded/forced Kate to come up with a follow-up album as soon as possible. Lionheart, which Kate co-produced, came out in November of '78, 9 months after The Kick Inside. Kate has said she was never really happy with Lionheart as it was rushed, but the album did well in the UK, going to #6. Kate hit the road in 1979 for a 6-week tour called The Tour of Life. Most shows sold out and additional ones were added. Now, Kate was determined to dance while singing, and this led to her sound engineer developing a wireless headset microphone.
Cool.
Which was, they pretty much invented it back then. It was the first of its kind. The show was also a theatrical experience, with Kate involving herself in every aspect of the show. Her next tour would be 35 years later.
Whoa.
In 2014. She played 22 nights at the Hammersmith Apollo from the end of August to the beginning of October. Tickets sold out in 15 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. Never Forever, which Kate also co-produced, came out in September of 1980 and entered the UK charts at #1. It was her first to use synthesizers, drum machines, and the Fairlight CMI, computer musical instrument. The Dreaming came out in 1982, and it was deemed uncommercial by the record company, even though it entered the UK album charts at #3. And it was the first album that she produced herself.
Oh, cool.
Page 2. Because of the high cost of renting the studio space from EMI and them not really getting a return on the dreaming, Kate built her own studio. She could take as much time as she wanted. So she made 1985's The Hounds of Love, which went to #1 in the UK, knocking out Madonna's Like a Virgin album. The single Running Up That Hill went to #3 in the UK and actually hit the top 40 in the United States, going to #30. In 1986, she had a top 10 hit with Peter Gabriel, who I kind of look at as like the male Kate Bush, on Don't Give Up. And little known fact, or maybe not, Dolly Parton was Peter Gabriel's first choice to sing with him on Don't Give Up.
That would have
And
been interesting.
yeah, she turned him down, but I really think it would have worked.
Yeah.
Anyway, The Whole Story, the album which we will be going through, came out in 1986, and she won a Brit Award in 1987 for Best British Female Solo Artist.
Is that their version of the Grammys, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Sensual World came out in 1989, became Kate's biggest selling album in the U.S. A box set, This Woman's Work, came out in 1990, which consisted of all her original albums up to that point in time. The Red Shoes came out in 1993, and then silence.
Oh, not Trablus?
Nope.
Silence?
For 12 years.
Wow. Maybe she just didn't want to...
Well, she had a son, Albert, in 1998, and got married and that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
In 2005, Ariel, A-E-R-I-A-L, was released as a 2 CD or 2 vinyl set. She formed her own label, Fish People, and released Director's Cut in 2011, an album of reworkings of songs from The Sensual World and The Red Shoes. An album of new material, 50 Words for Snow, also came out in 2011. In 2013, she was appointed a Commander of the Order of the British Empire, or CBE. Yep. As mentioned earlier, Kate played 22 nights at the Hammersmith Apollo in 2014, and an album from those concerts, Before the Dawn, came out in 2016. In 2018, she came out with her first book, How to Be Invisible, a compilation of lyrics. In 2020, she became a fellow of the Ivors Academy, one of the largest professional associations for songwriters in Europe. In 2022, some Netflix show called Stranger Things.
It has some sort of small cult following. You've probably never heard of it.
Used Running Up That Hill during its 4th season. It became the most streamed song on Spotify in the US, UK, Ireland, Canada, and pretty much globally. It hit number 1 in the UK and broke 3 records. 1, 44 years since her last number 1 hit. 2, Kate became the oldest female solo chart-topping artist at the age of 63 years and 11 months, replacing Cher. Yay! Number 3, the record for a single with the longest period taken to reach number 1, beating out Wham's Last Christmas by a year.
Wow! Whamageddon comes to an end, I guess, with that one.
And it hit number 3 on Billboard's Hot 100, so there you go. And I think the resurgence of Running Up That Hill led to Kate finally being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2023 after being nominated in 2018, 2021, and 2022. And she is hilarious because she was saying, ooh, now I get to learn their secret handshake.
Now, did she say anything about Stranger Things when Running Up That Hill went big? Did she ever give an interview about it?
Oh, yeah, she couldn't believe it, and she thought it was great because, she found out about 1 billion streams, and that's like, just 1 billion, a billion connections off of one river. Yeah, she was just really amazed and happy.
We were hoping the Cramps would go through the same thing when Wednesday came out, but God love them, it all could have happened. Almost.
Now, obviously, Kate is beloved by millions, and she has influenced many, so many artists. And she has fans ranging from Elton John to Kirk Hammett from Metallica to Johnny Lydon, also known as Johnny Rotten. Yes.
I thought that would be it.
Now, as for me, in 1985, I was first exposed to Kate's music on WBRU because
sounds right.
They played Running Up That Hill and Hounds of Love a lot. Now, I was also working at Leonard Safety Equipment at the time, and one of the part-timers who'd come in after high school to help me out in shipping and receiving, David Cobb, was a huge Kate Bush fan.
We keep mentioning David a lot whenever you bring up the safety shop.
Well, I mean, he was like a Bowie fan, so he'd bring in all of Bowie's cassettes.
And Grace Jones.
Yep, and then he brought in, he'd bring in Kate's cassettes to play whilst we work, and I'm like, wow, this is really different.
Yeah.
I mean, really, but like, she's unique. She's her own thing. She is her own genre.
Yes, she is.
She is. And I think I picked up The Whole Story sometime in either the late 80s or the early 90s from Good Vibrations and Seekonk. And I couldn't find this online, and maybe one of you listeners out there has heard about this, but I remember there was an incident when the whole story first came out in 1986,
Huh?
it seems that there was a mix-up at the EMI CD factory because when some people opened up the whole story jewel case, you know what they found inside?
A different CD.
A Beatles CD.
Which one?
I don't know
Huh.
because, and the thing was, the Beatles albums were not scheduled to be released on CD at that point in time.
Oh no, someone done goofed.
Now, irate customers went back to their music stores demanding a replacement, which on one hand I think, okay, I get it. You didn't get the album that you wanted,
But the record store has no control over it. They didn't print the CDs.
But you got the Beatles before anyone else did, which I'm sure
that's a good
when they
point.
brought those back, maybe the people at the record store thought, oh my God, yes, we'll definitely take this back. And oh my God, we should open up all the other ones and find out which other albums.
And then we can mark them up and sell them for millions.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the thing about the whole story is the packaging is minimal.
Well, I didn't see the packaging, so
Well,
I'll take your
you're
word
not
for
missing out anything.
Okay.
There's a nice photo of Kate on the CD booklet cover.
Yeah,
And
it's a nice
you
photo.
open up the CD booklet, and it's totally blank. I mean, just white space on 2 pages.
Is there like invisible ink or some shit that we haven't discovered yet?
I don't know. But the back of the booklet has like a picture from the cloud busting video, and it just lists the songs, and that's it. Now, I mean, we all know Kate wrote all these songs, but there's nothing about who played on them, who produced them, what albums they came off of, all that like picayune stuff that like record or music geeks like me are just like so into. I mean, no lyrics, just nothing. The whole story cries out for like remastering and for expansion and a booklet with substance. And all I can say is, Kate, Fish people, someone out there, please consider just making this happen. Now, the thing was, when the whole story came out, there was also a video compilation of the same name that came out on VHS with videos from all the songs. Plus, we got an extra song, The Big Sky. And believe it or not, I actually have it on VHS.
Really?
Yep. I borrowed it from the library.
You never gave it back?
No. At the time, Mike had this thing, like he had 2 VCRs set up, so he could borrow videos and just like make a tape copy of them.
Yo ho ho and a bottle of rum?
Yeah, the primitive years. So I asked him, hey, do you think you can make a copy of this? Sure. But I mean, nowadays, you can watch all her videos on YouTube, which is
For
what I
free,
did. Instead of playing the CD, I thought, I want to see every single one of these videos, which I did, and mind expanded. So
All
let's dive in.
Oh, yes, let's. First track, Wuthering Heights, new vocal. My first note, I was not expecting her voice to sound like that. It took me completely by surprise. That being said, it sounds perfect for Kathy haunting Heathcliff by the window pane and trying to get inside. Because it's haunting, doesn't sound like it's of this earth, it wails and cries out, and is just as annoying as Kathy was in Life and Death. This is a pretty good crash course in all the pining those two went through in the book/movie, or as I like to call their relationship, toxicity on a stick. And Kate sounds obsessed. You believe she will haunt this man until his dying days. So then, of course, I had to go back and watch Olivier, and I'm of the opinion women would not have pined for Heathcliff had he not played him in the movie. Because as you said, in the book, he's a dickbag. Anyway, this song perfectly captures the mood of the entire story with a nice rocky edge and a pining guitar solo. But I don't think I can listen to it because of how hair-raising the vocals are, and because of how annoying I found the whole bloody business of the original story. As for the original vocal, oh, she sounds so much more annoying and grating on the ears. The new vocals are way better. As for Pat Benatar, she sounds like if Wuthering Heights became an American rock opera, but I think you need Kate Bush in order to make it work because she sounds more possessed, and it's such an English story that it should have an English singer. Now I have a question before we get into your notes on this. Have you played this for Mom?
Oh, she's already listened to the whole album.
Oh, she has? She likes it?
She loves this album.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Gotcha, because I was curious about her thoughts on this track.
Okay, so the original version is from the Kick Inside. And Kate wrote this when she was 18 after watching a BBC adaptation of the Emily Bronte novel. Eventually, she read the book. and discovered that she and Emily Bronte were born on the same day.
Oh, wow.
Now, as for the novel itself, I read it once some years back.
Once was enough.
Most unpleasant, and there's not one likable character in the book. And yes, I read the book because of this song.
And the Hark a Vagrant parody is excellent.
Yeah, Kate Beaton nailed it with her Dude Watching with the Brontes cartoon. Because Emily and Charlotte, they love them some assholes.
They're also on Clone High in the new season, where it's just these three women, and they're wearing like, I guess you could say like swinging 60s British outfits, which I guess are making a comeback in the teen scene. But there's an episode where JFK joins a religious abstinence group that's led by Lady Godiva, because she's repented and she's seen the light of Jesus. So he's going to swear off women forever. And the Brontes are just sitting there wearing full funeral garb, just bawling their eyes out.
Jeez. Now, Kate's original version was recorded when she was 19. And does she sound like it?
Yeah.
And yeah, it is as high-pitched as all get out.
I can't listen to
it. It was tough for me to listen to. And I'm just amazed that it went to #1. But
I want to know what the hell the Pink Floyd guy ever saw in that.
I don't know. But 9 years later, she re-recorded it for the whole story, and it's a vast improvement. I think there's more depth to it, or control, or maybe it's maturity. There's something, I can't put my finger on it, but I love her remake so much better. There's just something in her voice where maybe she's relating to the character of Kathy Moore. And the first version I ever heard was Pat Benatar's from her Crimes of Passion album back in either 79 or 80.
Do you like that one?
I like that one. That was the first one I heard. But this version
It's
on
better.
the whole story, yeah, this is the juice.
Next track, Cloud Busting. My first note. This woman is tormented, and not just because she casually called her lover daddy. I mean, she wakes up crying, and this man was taken away from her, and she calls him her glow-in-the-dark yo-yo that she buried in the garden. I don't know what the heck that phrase even means. Should be up there with the cake in the rain. But whatever he did to her was quite the number. So far, all I want to do is give Kate Bush a hug and tell her either the man isn't worth it or everything will be okay. And the music is filled with drama as those strings strike the same militaristic chord over and over, and they put an echo on Kate's voice with a choir in the background almost singing a war cry. You walk away from it feeling bad for her and feel like she's smacking you in the face with emotional torment.
This is from The Hounds of Love, and this is based on Peter Reich's memoir, A Book of Dreams, about his relationship with his father, psychiatrist/philosopher Wilhelm Reich. The name of their family farm was Organon, which Kate mentions in the first line, I still dream of Organon. She sings the song from Peter's point of view, recalling how he'd help his father with his cloud-busting machine, a rain-making device Wilhelm Reich designed and built. Now, Kate plays Peter in the video, and Donald Sutherland plays Wilhelm. No shit.
Wow, cool.
Yeah. This song is very percussive, and that cello riff is impossible to get out of your head, and I never, ever get tired of hearing this song. And the thing about, like, Kate's videos, it's like you listen to the songs, and then you see the videos, and when you're watching the video, it's, okay, I get it. This makes sense.
Next track, The Man with the Child in His Eyes. This was the point where I realized it's not about the lyrics, it's about the vibes, and just let the music wash over me. This woman is haunted. There's a longing for her man that has a dark underbelly to it. And I don't know why, but her music kind of made me think of Kiss from a Rose, because it sounds like old-timey English Gothic romance, but a bit darker.
I can see that.
You can hear it. And I let the music carry me away and sort of tuned out the story as I rode out this romantic wave. I don't know if I liked it, but it certainly swept me away in a way I can't explain.
This is from The Kick Inside. It was written when she was 13 and recorded when she was 16. And if that's true, her voice sounded a lot more mature at 16 than it did when she recorded Wuthering Heights at 19. And apparently this song was the British equivalent of You're So Vain, because everyone wanted to know who was the man with the child in his eyes.
Who was it?
Turned out it was Steve Blacknell, a former British TV host. He and Kate grew up in the same town, and she had written the lyrics when they were in love. He even had the original handwritten lyrics, a gift from Kate, which he put up for auction for £10,000 back in 2010.
Wow, what a valuable gift.
Now, apparently, in England, the revelation was a big bombshell because everyone thought it was about Pink Floyd guitarist David Gilmour, who produced The Kick Inside. Now,
Uh-huh.
Kate has really never come out and said, yeah, it's about him, but she hasn't denied it either.
Maybe she just likes the drama because it sells more.
Could be. Now, this is probably the most normal sounding of all the songs on here.
Which is saying something.
Yeah, I mean, Kate's backed up by an orchestra, which she said terrified her to go in the studio and, oh, all these people are expecting me to nail it.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's on piano.
Yeah. Next track?
Yes, let's.
Breathing. This is a person who needs help. Either she's a recluse, cue the song Indoors from SpongeBob, or she's trapped inside her own mind, or she's retreated inside her mind on purpose. Could also be about addiction with a nicotine reference or a toxic love affair. And Kate's voice sounds haunted and possessed. Like when she repeats the phrase in, out, over and over, she sounds like she's at her wit's end. Like if you touched her, she'd break. But then you hear the speech in the background and realize it's about nuclear fallout. This came out in 1980, so Reagan was president and the Soviet Union would dissolve in 11 years. But I wonder if people were still fearing that the Cold War would suddenly heat up. If they weren't, hearing this song would do the trick. As for the music video, I thought she was just sitting inside a giant plastic bubble, not that she was also wrapped in plastic while sitting in the bubble. And I kind of think they should keep her in there because she looks like she could kill me and like she's actively losing her mind. Like when in season 4 of Sherlock, we found out he had a sister named Eurus and she was behind the glass pane. That's what that reminded me of.
Mm-hmm. This is from Never Forever, and this song is sung from the viewpoint of a fetus that's aware of what's going on outside her mother's body.
Oh, God. Oh.
Basically, nuclear war.
Oh, my
and
God.
Even though that means everything's over, her instinct is telling her to keep breathing, even breathing her mother's nicotine. So this kid is really screwed before she's even born.
Mm-hmm.
And also towards the end of the song, if you listen really closely, like you said, you can hear someone describing the flash of a nuclear bomb, like everything that's all the effects of it. And to me, this chorus has almost a lullaby quality to it. It's like very common, like breathing in, out, just the way she sings it until she flips out at the end. The verses, definitely not so much. And at the end, she's just singing, oh, leave me something to breathe. It's like really intense. And did I send you the video?
Yeah, that's why I said the bubble and her being wrapped in the plastic and please stay in there and don't let her out.
Yeah, she's the fetus, and I'm surprised she didn't suffocate with all that plastic.
Maybe they poked some mini holes in there that we can't see. I hope.
You need to see all her videos, and plus, you know what's another thing you should check out? Reaction videos to her songs. And the best place to go on YouTube is Rob Squad Reactions. It's this husband and wife team of Jay and Amber, and the first one I saw was Wuthering Heights. It was their first exposure.
Oh no, the original one?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And Jay's reaction is priceless, just watching his face. And Amber, it's at first she's like, what the hell is this? And as the song's going along,
She's getting into it.
She's getting more and more into it. And she's like a big fan. And it's funny, it's like every time she picks one of her songs, Jay's got this, oh no, not again look. But he's trying to figure her out. And I think he's come a long way since Wuthering Heights.
Next track. Wow. I see this song as being about artists who do the same rigmarole and are being told how wonderful they are but don't get the paycheck to show it. My favorite lyric is, when the actor reaches his death, you know it's not for real, he just holds his breath. Reminds me of the scene in The Seventh Seal where the head of the troupe of players pretends to die in the woods, only for death to actually come from a few seconds later with that big saw against the tree. And he's like, aren't there exceptions for actors? No exceptions. Anyway, as for Kate's performance here, her saying wow over and over didn't get to me the way I thought it would. And she does sound pretty cynical here, even with her ethereal voice, so she sold it very well.
Yep, this is from Lionheart, and it's about being in show business. And I thought it was like, how a person can be not really that great on stage, whether they're acting or performing music or something. And, it's good, but it's like there's just something there. And then, but you also have like something someone going, "Hey, wow, you were great, you were amazing." You know, they're just like feeding this person's ego,
Mm-hmm.
and I never realized how sarcastic Kate's wows were
Mm-hmm.
until I really listened to this, and she's like, "You know, we really think you're something unbelievable, amazing." I thought, "Oh, okay, I, I get it,
Mm-hmm.
I get it."
Next track. Dad, can you say this in a Mr. Burns voice?
Smithers, release the hounds of love.
Thank you.
Right away, sir.
My first note reading the title, I bet this song's gonna be a fun romp. The ooh 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 oohs took me out of it. I think they're supposed to be the hounds of love barking, but they sound more like seals barking.
Okay.
You can hear it. My favorite part was honestly the string section conveying the intensity, and their arrangement with the drums is great. That's all I've got.
Okay, yeah, obviously this is from The Hounds of Love. Kate compares the fear of falling in love to being chased by hounds of love. And she does admit to being a coward and ashamed of running away, like she really should turn and face them. But those hounds, they're gonna get her.
Sounds more like Hounds of Baskerville.
And they do. And she admits it at the end. You know what I really need? I need love.
Mm-hmm.
And this song is very, very percussive, and it has a relentless sound to it, which I guess is like, you know, those relentless hounds. They are just not going to give up until they capture her.
Mm-hmm.
And the lines at the beginning, "It's in the trees, it's coming," are from the British horror movie Night of the Demon.
Any good?
Never saw it. I think it came out like in 57 or something.
Okay.
Now, when I was at Blue Cross, this was back in the days where you make your own screensavers just so the computer wouldn't, like the screen wouldn't freeze, because like if you left an image up, it would burn into the screen.
Oh.
Yeah, so they would have screensavers. So what I did was I had those lines as my screensaver, and they would just roll across the screen.
Which lines?
It's in the trees, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Confused the heck out of everyone.
Next track, Running Up That Hill. At Mike's workplace, they play this song 4 times a day, along with Tom Petty's Free Falling.
I think they must have the same music service that Whole Foods does, possibly.
I don't know what they do, but I know he could go without the rest of his life without hearing those 2 songs. I used to hear this every time I went to New England team trivia at Greg's, and now that it's been used in Stranger Things, I don't think it'll die from being played on the radio ever. And then, of course, there was a TikTok parody, "If I only could, I'd make a deal with God, 2 avocados for $10, which I knew before I ever heard this song. I think it's a very good potential vengeance song. Kate is saying, "You haven't hurt me, but if we switch places, you'd see how deep these wounds run." The song for people who have been burned by life or a particular person and seem okay on the outside, but have been through so much shit you would never know just by looking at them. The bridge is probably my favorite part. "Come on, darling, let's exchange the experience." And then there's a musical crash as if to indicate, oh, they actually did switch places through some cosmic force.
Mm-hmm. This is from Hounds of Love. And yes, this is the song that everyone knows. Even if you don't know who Kate Bush is,
You've
know
heard this,
song.
yep.
And like I said, it was the first song of hers I ever heard, thanks to WBRU. And I thought, wow, this is different, but it's also really catchy. And the riff is a sampled cello played on a Fairlight CMI synthesizer. And the song did respectable back in '85, and then it blew up huge in 2022 thanks to Stranger Things. How big? Like I said, 1 billion streams, 1 billion streams on Spotify big.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, though, there was a remix that was used in the 2012 Olympics as part of the closing ceremonies.
Oh, interesting.
And what, you say you can't remember seeing it? That's because NBC didn't show it.
Why?
Due to time constraints and tape delay issues.
Oh, from London to the US?
I guess.
Whatever.
And before that, back in 1985, MTV chose not to show the original video.
Why?
Which was interpretive dance, because according to Kate's brother Patty, MTV weren't particularly interested in broadcasting videos that didn't have synchronized lip movements to them. They liked the idea of people singing songs. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen the video.
No.
I think you would really like it. It's her dancing with this guy, and it's incredible.
Okay.
It's amazing. Kate wrote this song about if men and women could exchange places with each other to understand how the other really feels. I think both like mentally and I think sexually as well, because there's those lines, "It doesn't hurt me, but do you want to know how it feels?" Like when I make you close your eyes and think of England, does it hurt? No. She can't put it into words, but she decides that her best option is to make a deal with God. And that was originally going to be the name of the song, Deal with God, but the record company thought, probably not.
In the U.S. Bible Belt, it's not going to sell.
Uh, and that was like REM had the problem with Losing My Religion. No one understood the point of the song because they didn't listen to the lyrics. It was just losing my religion. Burn him at the stake. And Kate will always be known for this song.
Yes.
Always.
When she dies, that's probably going to be the first line in her obituary. Kate Bush, singer of Running Up That Hill, passed away at da-da-da-da.
Yep, that's kind of like Buster Poindexter, singer of Hot Hot Hot.
Sorry, Buster. Next track, Army Dreamers. Okay, I had to Google this. BFPO stands for British Forces Post Officer, which not only delivers mail, but also brings home the bodies of Army officers.
Hopefully not through the mail.
Yeah, I was about to say, the fact there's never been a comedy sketch about this, like Monty Python, boggles my mind because it cries out for dark humor or black humor. Speedy delivery! Considering the war with the Falklands was in 1982, I'm sure this song resonated with a lot of Brits. I think this is the song I like the most so far because of the back and forth with the chorus. They're looking at this young boy who could have been a rock star or a politician or a father, but he didn't have a guitar or a proper education and he never even made it to his 20s. The musical arrangement is very fascinating because the harpsichord makes it sound like an old English folk song. I enjoyed this song quite a lot despite the dark subject matter.
Mm-hmm. This is from Never Forever, and Army Dreamers was a song that the BBC banned during the first Gulf War.
Oh, I wonder why.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so it's a mother grieves for her son who was killed whilst in the army. The weather warmer, he is colder, 4 men in uniform to carry home my little soldier. And then she starts wondering, what if, he could have been a rock star, but there wasn't a guitar, and he could have been a politician, but no education. So there was always the army, and then she delivers the kicker. Yeah, he could have been a father, but he never made it into his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And the song is played in waltz time, and it sounds pleasant if you ignore the words.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as for the video, I don't know if you've seen it, but if you watch Kate closely, she only blinks her eyes when the sampled gun cock sound plays.
Ooh.
So she keeps her eyes open the rest of the time, which must have been hard. But if you also look, the way that it's edited, it's like
probably multiple takes.
Well, also it's like, okay, looks like she's probably gonna blink now. Let's cut to something else so she can blink.
Mm-hmm. Next track, Sat in Your Lap. Those are some kick-ass drums. I thought I forgot this song, but then I heard Kate sing Some Say That Knowledge Is Something Set Up in Your Lap, and I remembered. Her voice is grating, almost in the way Frankie Valli's is in Big Girls Don't Cry. Like, I get she's supposed to sound pissed because she has the curse of knowledge, but she sounds like a shrew or like the innkeeper in The Invisible Man who shrieks at the top of her voice. I was just so turned off by this song, fascinating as the choices were.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. This is from The Dreaming, and she seems to be having some sort of existential crisis.
Yep.
Like she sees people and it works for them, but she finds that it hurts her.
Mm-hmm.
And she sees happy people, but can that even happen to her?
Mm-hmm.
And she wants to be a lawyer, a scholar. In my dome of ivory, a home of activity, I want the answers quickly, but I don't have no energy. And it seems like she knows she wants to do something or be someone, but
she doesn't know how to go about it.
And it seems like she really can't be bothered, but just give it to her quick.
Yeah.
And yeah, some say that knowledge is something sat in your lap. And I have no idea what that means. Maybe it's supposed to be that the knowledge is right there all along and you just haven't noticed it.
Oh, like the Greek theory of the telos, like the acorn contains the potential of the oak tree.
Yeah, I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to describe the song in one word, percussive.
Next track, Experiment 4. Again, those are some kick-ass drums. I feel like this is a concept that has been explored in science fiction or comic books before, creating a sound that could kill all who heard it. It was explored in Batman the Animated Series when Joker stole a sonic bomb that produced waves strong enough to kill anyone within earshot, and he was going to have it go off on New Year's Eve. Kate is also singing in her lower register here, which I'm not used to, but it really works, and it hints at the dark underbelly of scientific discoveries when science is used to harm instead of help, especially if the military-industrial complex decides to twist your arm for some money. Oh, and where will the scientists be? Long gone. They've served their purpose, so they don't have to stick around. The violins also add that perfect hair-standing screech. but the most harrowing feeling is when you hear the sound of the helicopter taking off to drop the sound bomb. Fascinating, sobering story that I enjoyed being set to music.
Oh, good. This is the new recording because that's how best ofs are. You have to have one new song to get the fans who already have the other songs a reason to buy this. And a group of, I guess, sound experts are working for the military. First they're making music, but then they're asked, can you make a sound that can kill someone from a distance?
Mm-hmm.
And I bet someone's working on that now.
Mm.
Or it's already been invented and we just don't know
It's
about
being
it.
kept from us, yeah.
Yeah. So they record disturbing sounds and they put it in their machine, and what could possibly go wrong?
Everything.
If you watch the video a lot, Hugh Laurie gets what's coming to him.
Hugh Laurie's in it?
He's one of the scientists. If you get a chance, you should check out the video. It is freaky deaky.
That's interesting.
Yep. And the helicopter sound at the end came courtesy of Pink Floyd's The Wall.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Next track, The Dreaming. This is the song that made me wish that she and David Bowie did a collaboration.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Because he has Ricochet, she has this.
Mm-hmm.
I think this song isn't just about colonization with the slaughtering of the Aborigines, but also the consequences of industrialization. Nature is being stripped away as the trees are felled, and kangaroos are being hit by cars whose drivers don't care as long as they get where they're going.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite part is this musical clash in the middle, where it's like the sounds of nature meet the sounds of industrialization, creating a harrowing cacophony. And Kate is in the middle as a jaded, bitter observer as to what has taken place. Once again, she's in her lower register, and her voice is appropriately harrowing. This whole song is harrowing, which is what makes it a perfect protest song. But there's an uplifting note at the end, a literal one, which may be to say all is not lost so long as we don't forget who we are and what came before. Wish I could have picked this out in my course on nonviolent activism. And I don't know why I wrote this note, but I did. My last note with this is eat your heart out, Sting.
Okay.
I don't know why I wrote that, but I
don't
did.
know either.
Maybe because I was thinking of Sting trying to save the rainforest. And he's done some good activism with that, but if you had to write a song about saving nature, I'd rather listen to Kate Bush than Sting, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously this is from the album The Dreaming, which has a very unique album cover. It's a picture of Kate. She's got her mouth open and she has a key on her tongue. And she's supposed to be Harry Houdini's wife.
Oh, cool.
Because I guess Harry's wife would kiss him on stage, but she was also passing the key to him so he could get out. Anyway.
Sorry, just reminds me of this joke that used to be on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, where Zack was trying to do Daredevil stunts, and he would say to people, if Houdini's brother didn't let him do stunts, where would he be? And everyone would go, alive? Anyway.
Yeah, so this is about colonization of the Aborigines from the viewpoint of the colonizers, I think. They mistake the natives for trees. They hit kangaroos with their vans.
Oopsie.
And go digging for ore. Possibly uranium, maybe.
So they're digging for something.
Now, as for the title, per Wikipedia, the dreaming or dream time is used to represent Aboriginal concepts of everyone, during which the land was inhabited by ancestral figures, often of heroic proportions or supernatural abilities. But they were not viewed as gods. It almost sounds like ancient superheroes in a way. But Kate, being Kate, she really did her homework on this one. And as for the music, I think she tried to incorporate as much, like to give it as much of an indigenous sound as she could, like using a didgeridoo, which is an Aboriginal wind instrument, and another instrument called the bull roarer, which is a piece of wood attached to a string. And when it's swung in large circles, it makes this roaring vibration sound.
I hope she got indigenous musicians to play those because, you know that channel I watched, Two Set Violin, with those two classical violinists, Brett and Eddie? So they did a video about different instruments around the world, and they're from Taiwan originally, but they reside in Australia. And they saw someone playing a didgeridoo, and they said that in Australia, everyone who is non-Aborigine is taught you don't play those instruments. Those are for the Aboriginal people to play, and if you play them, you are profaning something that is sacred, which I don't think is something that has reached across to other continents because, we don't have as much of an Aboriginal population as Australia does, but I found that very interesting.
Well, I know on this one it was not an Aboriginal person who played the didgeridoo.
If they were in Australia, they'd be screwed.
This was in England.
Yeah.
And it was this guy whose name I cannot remember, but he got caught up in a sex scandal some years later. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
as for Kate herself, she lays on this like really thick accent, which I'm assuming is supposed to be
I
Australian.
think that's what it's trying to be, but it bleeds between like Australian and New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
I think it's very hard for people to try to do one or the other because they kind of, if you're not familiar with the subtle differences, then you can kind of go back and forth between the two, and it sounds like you're hopping across countries.
I don't know if she was trying to get like their version of the Cockney accent.
Uh, mm,
I don't know.
it's weird. She's trying something.
Yeah,
Final track, Babushka. Hey, Dad.
yeah.
Is this Kate Bush's version of the Pina Colada song?
It has to be because I wrote the same thing.
Yes. All right. I was like, I can't be the only one who thinks this. All right.
It's Kate, so it's art, man. It's serious. Let's get into this.
To be clear, I do like. Okay, I've said this to Dad before. And I'm gonna bring it up on the podcast. There are some songs from Mom and Dad's generation that I like and Mom and Dad don't, and I think the reason is because
We were overexposed to them.
yes, you were overexposed to them by playing on the radio, and meanwhile, someone from my generation is hearing this for the first time. It's like, wow, this song is pretty good.
So you love Pina Colada and you love Piano Man.
I don't. Okay, here's the thing. They're not like my favorite songs of all time where like I want to inject them in my veins or play them on loop. But if I hear them in a bar, like, I'll sing along like la da di da da di da.
Whereas your mom and I, yeah, we'll be in the bathroom for
Yeah,
about 5 or 10 minutes.
exactly.
We'll be back.
Also, the guy who wrote Escape, is his last name Palmer or
Rupert Holmes.
Rupert Holmes?
He went on to write a Broadway play. I
The
think
Mystery
it
of
was
Edwin Drood.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Anyway, you know what? Both people in this relationship are the problem. Ah, yes, I'm going to intentionally trick my husband by setting a trap to make him think that there's another woman who's in love with him. What person in their right mind would do that? Clearly not someone who's secure in their relationship. Dad, you would do that?
No, but I was going to say there was very similar stories to this in the Decameron in Canterbury Tales, except it was always the husband who would test the wife to see if she was really faithful. I'm thinking,
Also, it's slipping the
these
gender.
people are just psychotic.
Oh, yeah, my ex boyfriend used to do that. He would set up tests for people to see if they were really loyal to him in his life, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and if they react this way, then that means they're with me, but if they react this way, it means they're with against me. And I didn't find out about this until years later. Like, Mom knew about it, and I didn't, but I was like, oh, God. Ugh, makes me very happy with the relationship I'm in now, and I was already happy to begin with. Anyway, it seems like he's only into this adultery situation though because he's reminded of his wife. What a toxic mess. Plus, also, he's a bit dumb for not being able to recognize his wife when they meet in person. Oh, you look a lot like my wife, but I can't figure out why. Talk about two stupid characters. I get too frustrated with them to legitimately like it, and Kate comes across as a master manipulator.
This is from Never Forever, and
Mm-hmm.
yep, wife wants to test her husband's loyalty, so she sends him scented letters signed Babushka, which means grandmother in Russian,
Mm-hmm.
which Kate did not realize at the time. I guess she just
Really?
liked the sound of the word.
Oh, but okay. Well, maybe
And
it's because I grew up with a Slavic family on one half, so I knew what it meant.
oh, stupid papers are getting stuck. Hang on.
This is why I have my laptop with my notes because I don't run into the issue of having to turn the page.
I'm
I could
still in the
just scroll.
20th century. Anyway, the letters remind him of his wife before the years flew by when she was beautiful. And then she decides they should meet incognito.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess she must have been some master of disguise because they meet and the husband has a feeling, I think I've met you somewhere before.
Maybe he has face blindness. That's a real thing.
Could be. And again, Babushka reminds him of his wife and he shouts out, I'm all yours, Babushka. I'm thinking, does the wife say,
Hey, it's me.
you son of a bitch?
And I never knew that you like pina coladas. And
Yes, I was gonna say in this
because
because I was gonna say there's a sequel out there in which she reveals her true self and says he never knew that she likes pina coladas and getting caught in the rain because, as we said before, this just really reminds me of Escape, the pina colada song.
everyone just calls it the pina colada song now.
I know,
because
but
the
it's really
chorus.
called Escape, and then the pina colada song is in parentheses.
I like the pina colada
And
song.
I'm sorry, Kate, but this song really just reminds me of that. But I do like your version a lot better, though.
I like.
And the thing in the video is
Yep.
like she sings it like she has two guises. One, she's the wife, and she's wearing like this black veil,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got this like big bass violin who's supposed to represent the husband, I guess. And then when she sings about Babushka, she's like this like like something out of like when Jack Kirby drew Thor comics back in the 60s,
Oh.
like this scary type of goddess, just like so wild, and figure, okay, that's her babushka disguise, and I can kind of see why the husband would have recognized her.
But you think with the voice, he'd put two to two together and get four, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, the way that she sings babushka, it's like she's like yelling it.
Yeah. Ugh. Right.
But I don't even know if this has a happy ending, because it's
No.
like you're cheating on me. Yeah, but I'm cheating on you with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still went to meet this person. Yeah, but it turned out to be you. You want to go have pina coladas? Sure.
That happened when I went to see The Drowsy Chaperone, which was the musical within a play. And there was a part where this woman's getting married, but she's not allowed to see her husband until the wedding. So he's blindfolded walking around so he doesn't see her accidentally. And she pretends to be this woman, like, "Oh, I heard you're getting married tomorrow. Congratulations. What makes you love her?" And then she goes, "So, how would you kiss your wife if she was here right now?" And he kisses her, and she's like, "Oh, you adulterer!" And it's like, but he's really kissing you. And it's kind of weird and messed up.
Yeah, but I was testing him. That son of a bitch shouldn't have kissed me.
Listen, the point is, if you're in a relationship where somebody is testing you like this, get away from them, because they are psychotic.
Run away! Run away!
Overall, Kate Bush is a particular vibe, one that you either will like or you won't. But even if you don't, she's still fascinating to listen to because her music is so unique to match her unique voice. Like if Sarah Brightman had a twin sister or something.
Smarter twin sister.
You can hear it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if you want to try music that has a haunting gothic voice set to Baroque pop, give it a try. And even if my descriptions turned you off, listen to it anyway, because it has to be heard to be believed.
Yep, so basically the whole story is Kate Bush 101, and it's a great place to start if you're interested in her.
Mm-hmm.
And also, just you need to check out all her videos, because they do clear up the meanings of the songs, mostly.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this came out in 1986, and it's almost 40 years later. And again, please, someone just remaster it, expand it, just something, and make sure it's available on CD as well as vinyl.
All right, as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, because remember, the more you interact with the video, the greater chance we have of appearing on the YouTube homepage. If you follow me on social media, I post the episodes there. If you're friends with my dad, tell him what you want to listen to, and he'll send an email right to your inbox. Thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. We will be back next time with another album to nitpick and gripe about. Dad, anything you want to say before we sign off?
Well, originally my final words were going to be, "It's in the trees, it's coming," but now I feel it should be, once again, "Smithers, release the hounds of love." Right away, sir.